Have you ever thought about the real reason why you struggle with loving yourself? And I'm just saying that because I think a lot of women in particular, and men too, I'm seeing nowadays, they have an issue with self-love. And it's very indicative in how people are treating each other and the problems in the world that they don't love themselves enough and they can't show up in the right ways in their life because they don't have enough love for themselves. And when I say self-love or self-care, it's not about going to the spa or doing your nails or having a massage, like that kind of stuff. I think that's kind of like a Instagram post, and I'm guilty of it, where I'm like, self-care day. Like, it is self-care. You want to take care of yourself. It's called maintenance. It's more about how do you get into an emotional place and vulnerable place that you can be raw and real with your true soul in yourself. So like having the conversation with your true self and the ego self. And I mean the two sides of you, right? Because we all have the ego, the mask that we wear in public and personas that we want other people to see. I have my makeup on, I have my hair done, I have a mask on right now, and we all do. But then there's that real soul of who I truly am in my heart, of all the things that I want. And all the stories and the conditions, I would say, that you were raised in that made you the person you are today. Because we are all a culmination of experiences in life and interactions all throughout life to led us to exactly where we are. And we're exactly where we're supposed to be. And we're having the journey we are all individually supposed to have, which I really believe. But the whole question is, I think the biggest issue with people is not understanding why they struggle with self-love before they can even answer and how to develop a self-love for yourself. I think the biggest thing is, I've always wondered, why is it so hard for high achieving women to love themselves? And I think it's a double-edged sword, because there is a sense when you go after achievement, it's a sense of winning, being number one, top 10, whatever have you, winning the prize, the accolades, making the deal done, getting the accomplishment done, winning the race. It's all achievement. And there's a cheering on for winners. If you're number one, you're the winner. You win the big prize, you win the girl, you win all the things, right? And there's this reverence for success and winning in our culture, especially in the US. Gosh, it's probably been at an all-time high. I think we're now shifting into a different paradigm in the world, I feel. But it's something that happened culturally. Like, we always talk about Asian people, and like, I'm Korean, and there was always this thing of like, I thought you should be smart in math, blah, 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 blah. And our childhood programming, again, when I say all the culminations of what our cultures were raised, how our parents raised us, the conversations, which then led to our own self-talk, right? And so if you think about that and the whole concept of perfectionism, if I do this, then will you love me, right? I think Tony Robbins talks about that. Everybody just has the core need to be loved and to be enough. And every time I think about those two things, he says that, I can lead that back to every situation, and it's the truth. No one really wants to admit it, but it's the truth. Even the highest power person wants to be enough. They want to be successful, to be enough, to be loved and accepted by somebody in their life. So that kind of goes right back in the hand of achievement. Is what happens, I think, for high achieving women is that they achieve, but on the flip side, right? And it's just that like heroin or that drug, the addiction of winning, that only lasts for like a second. And then all of a sudden it's the next thing, and it's the next thing, and it's the next thing. It's the chasing and the chasing and the chasing and the striving and the chasing that makes you feel, when will it ever be enough? It's never enough, I'll tell you that. And unless you love yourself and you can honor yourself and your true self, all those achievements will always leave you just a little bit empty. And if that's you, comment below, because I'm curious how many people watch this and go, oh my God, that's how I feel. Like, it doesn't hit the same, right? That humongous win the first time you won, by the time you have your 100th deal or whatever goes on, you're like, oh, another deal, another award, another accolade. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And so one of the things people need to figure out is, when you can have an honest conversation again with your ego and self of, why can't I just love myself as is, without winning, without looking perfect, without showing up in a certain way? Why can't I just be loved because I'm a human person, right? And it's one of those things that I had to go through this whole journey, and that's why I'm talking about it, because it took a really long time for me to fall in love with myself. I think I've heard a saying where someone said, you are your own greatest love story. And I just thought that was amazing. And it's the truth. And gosh, growing up, I just wanted my parents' love and attention, and they were constantly working. They were immigrants. I never saw them. My grandmother raised me, and it wasn't the best situation. In hindsight, I think even my mom recognized it. She said, I feel bad that I knew that you needed me more than the other kids. And I did. I needed her in a way that I think there's still a piece of me searching for that, right? And I will be honest and say that. But in that whole process, what I realized too is because I was striving always to get their love and acceptance, I always was obedient. I always did all the right things. I think by default, I chose the right path and the right decisions, whereas one of my brothers kind of fell down the downtrodden path of not kind of getting into trouble with the law and all that. He kind of went the other way. And so it's interesting what can happen to different individuals based on their upbringing. And my parents did their best. I have no ill will. It is what it is. And I'm here today for all the things good and bad that happen. So I'm not going to have any anger towards that at all. I think we do need to give our parents a break, even though when you go back and you excavate yourself, you may have feelings of like, oh, I wish that had not happened. I wish I'd been seen differently. And why I'm bringing this up so much is to understand that it's a journey. It's very windy and I'm in the middle of it right now. But I will say it's a beautiful, delicate journey if you can have an honest conversation with yourself and say, what are the things about me that I really love? What are the things about me that I see that are really positive and joyful and quirky and charming that I don't need to hide to make someone else feel better? Because a lot of times we hide, we dim our lights because we feel like we're making other people uncomfortable. So part of the self-love journey for me, and I challenge you, is to shine your light bright, because in that process, you will fall in love with yourself. You develop more confidence, and the more confidence you get, the more you do things that are hard. Like if you do hard things, you do things that are uncomfortable, you do things that scare the crap out of you. It's really weird. It's like a little bit closer to like more confident and more like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And then I did do that. Like, and then you start kind of having that feeling of pride in a way that no one can give you. Only you can earn that yourself. And in that process of pride and learning, you learn your own self-worth. And it's true, the only way you can build self-worth is if you achieve, if you understand what you have to offer. And also claiming your space and claiming what you want and claiming how you're going to be treated. I think that was something I had to really learn. I had some issues and tribulations early on in my relationships with allowing people to treat me not so nice. And I'm going to say that very loosely because I know you all know what that means. And I see that happen to women a lot. They take less than. There's actually that movie, The Joy Luck Club. And one of the moms said, gosh, she was comparing her daughter to the other daughter because she always took the not as nice piece, meat or food, because her heart was so big and she didn't want to take the best for herself. And I think that's I don't know what it is. It's like something I learned too, like, let me make myself lower to make you feel higher. And I don't know if you see that as a symptom in yourself, but that's a really big thing I want you to pay attention to, is to do a self-check with yourself and have an honest conversation. You can look in the mirror. Like, I actually tell myself in the mirror, I love you. I love you, self. I think Sage Robin kisses herself. I went to an event and cracked me up. And then looking at emotion inventory, if you're having a freak out session, if it's hormonal, whatever's going out, and I call them like crash outs. We all have hormones. We all have stress. And I had a really hard weekend this weekend because I think I'm going through some changes myself. I didn't know where it was coming from, but I wasn't judging it. I was allowing it and understanding that this is something that had to come out of me for me to go to the next step. And I think it's really important to allow and surrender. I use that in a different video, to understand part of falling in love with yourself is loving all the pieces of yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pieces that are not so nice. We all have bad sides of ourselves. I have a temper sometimes. Ooh, can you believe it? I'm impatient. I don't know. I have a lot of bad characteristics that I'm not that excited about, but I also have some great ones. And I think if you can celebrate all of the pieces that you have, good, bad, that's what makes you who you are and whole. That when you honor yourself, it's easier to go into that place and not feel like there's shame or hiding when you're having conversations with people, when you're interacting with people, when you're doing business, and you stand up a little bit taller and stronger and with more authority in what you're doing and not feeling less than and kind of, hunched over as a woman. And that is probably the biggest lesson I learned. And it's a journey. It's kind of evolving. That's why I think you see older women that have done the self-work. The wisdom is there. There's something so attractive in an older woman that knows their worth and knows who they are and knows what they want in life And they don't have to make apologies. They don't have to make excuses. They also don't have to be out there making a show and making a big deal about it. This is who I am. And that's kind of me in a nutshell. And I hope that you can find some self-love for yourself. I know we all struggle daily with the battle of our minds. The mind and the heart always seem to be disconnected sometimes. But I challenge you to go a little bit deeper, to have some conversations with your true self and see if you can put that ego self aside and surrender and see what kind of comes out and see if you start falling in love with yourself. I challenge that. And I would love to see in the comments below, if you do love yourself already, what were your hacks to get there? And were you always this way? I'm curious. And always would love a like and a subscribe if you're interested in this content. Until next time, stay empowered.